Hey, Coach, thanks for taking the time today.
Thanks.
We'll start with Ed and then go to John.
Yeah, hi, Nick. Obviously, the offense continues to be a talking point after whatever the first 12 weeks. What gives you confidence that with 6 weeks to go, it can find its footing without, possibly making any coaching changes?
Yeah, I feel like we got the right people as players, as coaches that have had success, and we're all searching for answers to make it more consistent. There's some good things, obviously. There's some not so good things, and we got to find the things that we really can hang our hat on, and then the compliments that come off of that, and when we talk about identity, we always want to play tough, detailed together. That's never changing. But the way you play each individual game obviously can change. So it can't be just, hey, well, we got to run it better, or hey, we got to pass it better, or hey, we got to play action better. Because it's at some point in each of these games that we have left, and really all that we're focused on is this next one, it'll have to be a little bit of everything and to reach the goals that we want to reach.
We'll go to John and then Elliot.
Hey, Nick, can you confirm Drew's going to be out and fractured his ankle, and also in correlation to that, potentially Michael moving back to the back end and how you thought he played and the opportunities he had in Dallas?
Yeah. Yeah, you guys saw the report. He'll be out for some time and for a little bit, and we'll see. I'll never put a timetable on a guy. We'll see how long. So that, but he'll miss a little bit of time here. But we'll see how long. I think we have good options there. Michael being one of them. Sydney. Reed's still back there, man. And man and everything back there, and we got some guys that we have confidence in on the practice squad as well. So this is why you need your entire roster. It's never just the 53 guys; it's the 70 guys, and you never know when those guys' opportunity will come, and here we are.
We'll go to Elliot and then Dave.
Hey Nick, last night Saquon said after the game he thought the Cowboys maybe wanted it a little bit more. I was wondering what it means to you when a leader of the team, a leader of the team says something like that.
Yeah, obviously we want to go out and put our best effort out at every point. And I felt like when I watched the tape, I saw the effort at sky high on both sides of the ball on special teams. Obviously they went and they got the win. So there's always things that factor into it as far as our determination, our effort. I saw that it was high. And we all have to yeah, be there. And I think like I said, we were obviously. Saquon felt something last night, and he's got a great pulse for everything. But as you watch the tape, as you look at the tape, which obviously after the game we don't have the luxury of looking at the tape before we go in and talk to you guys. But I felt like the effort was really really high in that game, and hats off to Dallas. They played a good game and they got us.
We'll go to Dave and then Jeff McClain.
Nick, have you contemplated making a change at the offensive play caller position? And if not, why the confidence in Kevin this far into the season?
Yeah, no, I haven't. And again, I think that it's never. I think we always are always looking for answers. As coaches, we're always looking for answers, and we're never into assigning blame. It's just looking for answers. And I think I think what sometimes can happen is it's like it's just this. Well, it's not just that, and it's every piece of the puzzle: coaching, playing, execution, scheme, everything. We got to be better in all of those aspects. And so yesterday, I thought Kevin did a good job of calling it. Obviously he's going to want plays back, just like every player and myself. We all want plays back, and when you're going through it like that, that's what you're always looking at. And it's never in football just one thing, even though you're always trying to find answers. So no, I haven't considered that, Dave.
We'll go to Jeff McClain and then Jeff Nyberg.
Yeah, sorry about that, Nick. Nick, I
Okay.
was just hoping to get some clarification on this 5 down thing. Landon Dickerson said, after the game that, or at least suggested that, there wasn't enough time on task done to prepare for it because it wasn't typically something the Cowboys had done. And yet, they had been doing it the last few games. And even Jalen Hurts had said that, they were trying to get their, the 3 good defensive tackles on the field at the same time. So I'm just wondering, the disconnect there, was that accurate that you guys hadn't prepared enough in trying to counter the 5-man front, and if so, that's not like it's something new. Why have you guys struggled? Why weren't there ways to beat that?
Sure. Yeah, you go into every week, and you're trying to play the game in your mind as much as you possibly can, not just with how you call it, but how you plan it for practice as well, and how you plan for drills and everything. So the walkthroughs, the practice, your drill work, you're trying to identify what you think, and so what you're always trying to do is say, how many reps do I need to devote towards this? How many reps do I need to devote towards that? How many reps do I devote to towards this? And you try to make educated guesses there. And obviously, right, with that, we devoted time for all of them. We knew they had that in their package and their plan, especially with those guys. And we went in and said, here's how many we're devoting towards this. Obviously, they played a little bit more there, even than anticipated. And so, of course, as coaches, you say to yourself, well, I wish I would have gave them a couple more reps on this one. Now, you're limited as far as how many reps you actually have in walkthrough and live and in drill work. And that's why you're trying to make your best case. And like I said, no one's ever going to pitch a perfect game here. And that's in your planning sometimes as well. And so, looking back at it, you're like, yeah, sure. I wish we would have given us a couple more reps there. But that's how you go into a game of thinking about it on that. And that those are the discussions that we have as coaches after the game. We prepared for the things that we thought we were going to get, some more than others, and then sometimes it doesn't play out that way when you look at it after the game.
We'll go to Jeff Nyberg and then Bob Brookover.
Yeah, Nick, obviously the penalties were a big problem yesterday, but offensive penalties have been a consistent issue for you guys this year. And you've had a couple different chances this year to do some self-scouting with some breaks. Are you noticing common themes? And it's, this late in the season, why are you struggling to correct it at this point?
Yeah, we got to keep grinding it out to fix it, right? That's our job, is to try to figure out and identify issues and try to fix them. Anytime that we have those penalties like that, and we had penalties, and I think I said to Aaron Andrews at halftime, is like, hey, we got to stop some of the penalties that we're getting behind the sticks. Now we were catching up a little bit. In those first 3 drives, we'd get a penalty and we'd overcome it, but that's hard to sustain the success of a game when you have those. So anytime it's penalties like that, I'm always or anytime it's ball security, or anytime it's the fundamentals or something within tough detail together, I'm always going to put that on myself. And so I have to do a better point blank. I have to do a better job of coaching it, and finding different ways to make sure it gets through. There. Now, with that being said, like I think I've mentioned this to you guys before, sometimes the penalties are in the heat of the battle, and those happen, right? Sometimes there's going to be holds in every game, and sometimes they get called, sometimes they don't, and those things happen in the heat of the battle. It's really our mission is to obviously fix those things, but also fix the stuff that happens before the snap or after the whistle. Penalties come in many different shapes and forms as far as in the heat of the battle. And sometimes it's we didn't put them in a position to succeed well enough where they are reaching to try to accomplish their goal. Sometimes it's a fundamental thing by the player. Sometimes, there's always a different, sometimes, the other guy got the best of the other guy, so all those things, or the defensive coach got the best of the offensive coach. That's why I'm saying it's never just one thing. This is like, we can't say that this is the ultimate team game when things are going good, and then when they're not going good after a loss, it's on one person. It's an ultimate team game. I mean, that's the nature of this game. That's why I love this game, and I'm so passionate about this game, because I love being a part of a team, and I love I love just the camaraderie of a team. And so that's what I want you to take away from this is the most is like when it's going good and it's all about the team, that doesn't switch when it's not going as planned and we try to assign blame to one person. It's always still all about the team.
We'll go to Bob and then Bo.
Hey, just two quick ones, Nick. Did Xavier make a mistake by fielding the ball where he fielded it? Is the first one, and then B, to piggyback off what Jeff just asked there. On the cover penalty, it's something we see in games all the time. How do they happen? And can a receiver? Do you coach the receiver? Can he say to the official, "Am I good?" I mean, I see that at other levels on the sideline, but can he look at the official and say, "Hey, am I good?" and get an answer to that?
You're saying on the pre-snap one?
Yeah, the pre-snap cover.
Yeah, those officials do a good job of helping out, and you always want to be able to check with them. But again,
How do they happen though?
how do they happen?
How does that happen? Where
Sometimes you don't have, you're up there, you're lined up, and you're far away from the guy. I think that ball was on the opposite hash, and you just missed that communication. Sometimes you're getting up to the line of scrimmage late. Sometimes you think you know what you're in, and you don't check. All right, there's many different things that can happen there of where those happen because you're trying to get up and run a play and run it fast. And then as far as Xavier, I got to do a better job there. Obviously we try to go through a lot of those things. We work a lot on plus 50 punts. And it's again when there's a fumble or there's a mental mistake or anything like that, I hope you guys understand that I'm gonna put that more on me than anything because I take a lot of pride in that, and that's my job as the head coach. So that's on me. Xavier's trying to make a play. There's a teachable moment with that too in that scenario, be able to let it go. But I put that on myself of I got to do a better job of communicating and coaching it and being better there myself.
We have time for two more, so we'll go to Bo and then end with Mike.
Hey, Nick. When you guys score touchdowns on the first three drives and then none the rest of the game, there's the perception from the outside, they took their foot off the gas. Is that fair or unfair?
I mean, to go up 21-0 with, I think we got the next possession that we had was with like 5 minutes left in the second quarter. Yeah, you're trying to do everything you can to go up 28-0. You're trying to do everything you can do to go up 35-0. I felt like we were aggressive all game. Obviously the execution and everything, the execution and the play calling was better in the first half than it was the rest of the time, and the schemes and everything, right? Again, and so we if you look at it, I think that we're still being aggressive to try to do to try to get as many points on the board as possible, especially playing against that team that we were playing. And really, you don't start to think about taking your foot off the gas until you get into 4-minute football. And 4-minute football is played many different ways based off of how many scores you're up, how much time is left, how many timeouts are left. And again, it's called 4-minute football for a reason. You don't start really into that until 4 minutes. Now, sometimes that extends a little bit more into the fourth quarter, depending on your lead. But again, some of those things that were getting us behind the sticks continued to bite us in the butt as the game continued on, and that stalled some of those drives. And we needed to keep the pressure on in that game, and that was what we were thinking. We needed to keep that pressure on in that game because any of those drives that stalled, you get points on any of those drives, touchdown, field goal. It's a different game, and we knew that. And so we were working hard to try to go up in those scenarios and keep our foot on the gas.
We have time for one more, so we'll end with Mike here.
Hey, Nick, I realize it's a small sample size, but Tank Bigsby has been really productive in the opportunities he's gotten, including relative to what Saquon has done. Do you chalk that up to just small sample size, and is it possible we'll see more of him in the coming weeks?
I think we got two, I love our running back room. You got Saquon, you got Tank, you got Will, you got AJ, all guys that are capable starters throughout the NFL and stars throughout the NFL. Excuse me. And Tank's done a nice job with the the carries that he's had. Obviously, we always want to get the Saquon the ball as much as we possibly can because we know what type of playmaker he is. But Tank's doing a really nice job when he comes in and gives him a break. But make no mistake about it, we want to get Saquon the ball as much as we can because we know good things happen. And you know, obviously our run game, we got to continue to get it humming. You know, but also Saquon did some really good things with the ball in his hand in the pass game yesterday as well. So always a plan. Again, you look at our game plan, it's always going to start with AJ, Saquon, Devontae, Dallas, all those guys, and how many touches we can get them, and that's always going to. But we also love the guys that we have behind them. You know, we like to give Will touches, we like to give Tank touches. Jahan does a nice job when he gets his hands on the ball, and so you know those. We got a lot of playmakers, and we got to find ways to make them go.